You'd better start praying now. Welcome to Asteroid Fight Club. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Alabama may not be in that forecast cone, but I've got a funny feeling New Jersey, New York, and New England are. The clock is ticking, and the GFS and the King Euro have lock on day 10, Northwest Atlantic turn. As Faxi descends upon Japan in a landfall of a typhoon, about to move over Tokyo. Pretty much anyone who is plugged in and focused on the Atlantic agrees that the second half of September is going to be very dangerous. Hurricane Dorian has literally left bodies in its wake, and I and we have good reason to believe that the hurricane that is probably coming, the 18th to the 23rd, give or take, the end of September, will be more damaging, deadly, and destructive than Hurricane Dorian. Philip Klotzbach, on this date in 1900, the Galveston hurricane made landfall as a Category 4 storm. It caused 8,000 to 10,000 fatalities, the deadliest hurricane in United States history. The hurricane also left about a quarter of Galveston's residents homeless. This is the gas giant position of that day in 1900. If you'll notice, all the gas giants are on the same side of the sun. And please take extra notation of where Jupiter and Saturn are. This is the position of the gas giants today. You can see that Saturn and Jupiter are almost in the exact same place. Neptune has moved over here, and it will have its opposition to Earth on the 10th. We had an inferior Neptune opposition in March, which led to a record 968 millibar low over land in the dead of winter. And so, since around this date, I've been warning of major record storms in the Northeast with probably a chance to be like 25%-ish worse than this one, because this was when it was cold and it was over terrain. So if it has a hot water kickstart, then there ain't no telling how low it could go. Asterisk, let's say worst case scenario, Category 5, asterisk, WTF. This is one of the earlier model runs. It showed it come up Florida and then move up the northeast coast, and then it had one following behind it. Our whole solar system is stormy and changing, bro. And we're getting signals that October is going to be very active for hurricanes. Nathan the Nerd letting us know that cyclone, typhoon, hurricane activity, anomalous, is going to be happening all over the world. We could be seeing a cyclone in the Mediterranean Sea 2 days out, according to a lot of the models. A cyclone like this is pretty rare, but they do happen. We got disorganized convection 94L bumbling and stumbling in the Atlantic. And for the people who were telling me in April and later that you couldn't get a Category 3 hurricane, that north and the northeast, I present to you James Cinco, buoy 44150 off the coast of Nova Scotia, now has the wave heights of 36.4 feet. Winds gusting to 69 miles per hour with pressure down to 965. Dorian has done a lot of damage. Nick Hill tried going to start this thread by showing the pattern we have entered. We have been in a negative now pattern for months, but have recently flipped to a now positive, which caused persistent Bermuda highs to form. This trap tropical cyclones so they can't escape out to sea, like Gabriella is. Ominous pattern. Ominous pattern. Heat is all around. Ben Knoll, another way to look at the potential backloaded Atlantic hurricane season, pressure anomalies. Potential backloaded Atlantic hurricane season. Pressure anomalies. The blue shades approaching the East Coast in late September, early October suggest lower pressure and an increased risk for storms. Late September, early October. We got about 5 weeks to prepare for this one and less than 2 weeks to prepare for this one. And I want to remind everybody, every single time they've drawn up the storm, it's a giant freaking monster. As I've said, this storm should break new records in certain regions. Runs over the last day have also shown us the potential for a triple Martian boob pattern that is more dangerous than the last ones we've seen. I guessed earlier in the day that the latest run, the 6 p.m. Sunday night run, which would take us about 2 weeks away from the event, would be an out to sea option. So I wouldn't have any crystal clear narrative to run with. But if you'll notice, on the exact date, I've pegged the 18th to the 23rd. At the exact latitude, I pegged, and a category 3 or higher, at the exact category I pegged, nothing is different, is it is about 20 degrees longitude wide to the east. And I'd like to remind you that the GFS, 11 days out, on Dorian's Bahamas landfall, showed nothing. It came out on the 22nd. It was for September 2nd. And GFS had nothing. But the GFS and Euro are pretty much locked in on a day 10 pivot and turn point. This is the Euro. Notice how it turns. West, north. And so, everyone from Florida all the way up needs to be prepared. And the Gulf should stay aware too, because the October predicted storm should come out of the Gulf, and we're going to get a lot of surprises, I imagine. But this is showing what could be our 18th to 23rd storm to be taking a turn and heading up. My initial estimate was here to here, but in worst case scenarios, we've seen it go all the way up Florida and then rake all the way up the coast. I could be wrong about this thing. It could go into the Gulf. So everybody needs to be prepared, because it's going to be interesting, as an understatement. Eric Blake, simplifying Ben Knoll, being near or west of the dark green blob in the Atlantic is usually lower shear, higher moisture, and less sinking air. This suggests another round of significant tropical cyclone activity could occur late month into October. Long way to go in this hurricane season. Day 8 of 60 peak season. Highly favorable velocity potential pattern for Atlantic hurricanes is forecast to unfold from late September into October. So we are now watching every single run, and every single second counts. As the Florida Wavemaster points out, we are definitely in the danger zone. This is by far the most important clear and present danger that I know of over the next 2 weeks to the United States of America. So I've been trying to do my best to communicate with people what we might be facing. There is a 20% chance it will go out to sea. But that is not what we should be prepared for. It's going to be a wild 2 months around the globe, and that the Albacoa Island is in danger, and I regret to, I think all people need to be evacuated there because they have no working services. And I fear I have to tell Puerto Rico that some of the models have shown you guys getting hit by a Category 1 or 2 hurricane on some of the runs. So we will pay close attention. But the reason people get mad at me is I have my own critical opinion on many things. So there are things our president does that I think he did a good job at. And there are things he does that I think are horrible moves. And so that wins me no real friends with the two sides of America that either think everything he does is horrible or everything he does is perfect. But let me say, I appreciate him keeping the focus on hurricanes as we step forward into these next 52 days. And that we are all in this together and we all have to work together. Because if this is a worst case scenario, we have 112 million people in the danger zone. And if this thing absolutely devastated not only Nebraska, but the Midwest, think what a 25% stronger version could do to the south and northeast, depending upon its track. It is totally go time. Wave after wave after wave of crazy shit, man. Jesse Farrell at the Weather Matrix. Record Waves, Mimu of Newfoundland reports that the Channel Port au Basques Buoy, just off the coast, measured waves to 30.7 meters or 107 feet with a significant wave height of 14.9, 48.8 from Hurricane Dorian last night. If verified, both would be new records. I've been talking about this period for years, all year, and since April. I've even mapped it out. You can't do it alone. There's so much we don't know. But what I do know is that y'all, Astonishers and Asteroid Bike Club, have been amazing to me. With your love, your prayers, your thoughts, your support, keeping me alive. And so my guess was that I've still got about a day or two before even Asteroid Bike Club really starts to clue it in, key it in, and get in tune to what is going on. And then we got to tell everybody else in case we can't knock these hurricanes back to Neptune, Eris, possibly Saturn. But I do want to say thank y'all very much. Y'all are amazing. I love y'all. I have faith in God and good people. And so we've got a lot to work with. And I know the nihilists have been running the show like Nazi propaganda professionalists, convincing us that we're doomed and we can't work together and nothing good can ever happen. But my faith is not shooketh, and I have not given up on you or y'all. With God and teamwork, all good things are possible. Eris and the propaganda machine have been telling y'all otherwise since 1999. I wonder if any of these people understand what I'm talking about yet. And I just want to remind y'all, if you look back, THORnews and my computer got nailed to the floor digitally, and I was out of action right before the major storm in March. So I'm absolutely taking contributions, donations. I love all the letters I get in the mailbox. Any type of help and support and extra defense I might have. Last time I had to get a new computer before the March inferior Neptune opposition. So I just would like to be prepared to be able to bring you guys all the best information in the best ways I can. So any type of love, help, support, prayers for me and for the people of the Abaco Islands, the Bahamas, the Northeast Coast, all humans really, would be appreciated. And it's never too early to try and push this thing out to sea with your mind, but that is not a good plan for 110 million people. So let's do what we can. either way, I'm pretty sure something big's coming. All right, everybody stay cool. Still kind of recalibrating after working on Dorian nonstop. I had like one day off, slept. Okay. I love you guys and I appreciate everything. I really, 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 really do. It has been a wild ride. And this is kind of like my THORnews 7-year thesis paper. And if we do all this really well, we can have a really fun THORnews 7-year anniversary party in November. But we got to be aces. God bless everyone. May the force be with you always. Let's live long and prosper together. We can pretty much improve just about everything.